Every authority has hot buttons. A hot button is an issue that matters more than the written question may suggest. It may come from political pressure, resident complaints, service history, budget pressure, system failures, poor mobilisation experience, staff concerns, data risk, reputational sensitivity, or a previous supplier problem. In a local authority bid, the hot button is often the real reason behind the question. For example, a question about mobilisation may not simply be asking for a plan. It may be asking, can you start without disruption, avoid complaints, and protect continuity? A question about customer care may not simply be asking for a contact process. It may be asking, will you treat vulnerable residents fairly and avoid reputational damage? A question about technology may not simply be asking what platform we use. It may be asking, will the system integrate, stay secure, produce reliable data, and avoid creating work for officers? A question about social value may not simply be asking for corporate commitments. It may be asking, will anything measurable actually happen locally? Stakeholder mapping helps us identify these hot buttons early, but identifying them is only half the job. The second half is turning each hot button into a reassurance point. A reassurance point is a specific proof, method, or commitment that helps the evaluator believe that the risk is under control. For example, if the hot button is mobilisation risk, the reassurance points might be a named mobilisation lead, a phase plan, a dependency tracker, weekly mobilisation governance, 𝗴𝗵𝗀𝗀𝗶 milestones, system testing and hypercare. If the hot button is complaints, the reassurance points might be clear service levels, complaint categories, same-day acknowledgement, escalation routes, vulnerability training, quality sampling, and a monthly lessons learned report. If the hot button is revenue loss, the reassurance points might be reconciliation controls, audit trails, exception reporting, income dashboards, finance ownership, and evidence from a comparable contract. If the hot button is lack of local tailoring, the reassurance point might be local performance data, named local partners, authority-specific examples, local activities, area or town centre considerations, and commitments linked to the council's own priorities. The key is to match proof to concern. Too often bids use proof because it's available, not because it answers the evaluator's doubt. That can create a weak connection. We may provide a strong national case study when the evaluator needs local evidence. We may describe processes when the evaluator needs measurable outcomes. We may give a senior assurance statement when the evaluator needs named operational ownership. The best bid teams ask three questions. What does the authority most need to believe? What might stop them believing it? What proof, control, or commitment would remove that doubt? Those questions make the answer sharper. They also help us avoid over-answering. If the evaluator's concern is risk control, we do not need to list every capability in the business. We need to show that the specific controls that reduce that risk. If the evaluator's concerns are value for money, we do not need to promise every possible enhancement. We need to show a proportionate controlled model with transparent assumptions and measurable value. If the evaluator's concern is fairness, we do not need broad customer service language. We need to show the safeguards, training, scripts, escalation routes, and evidence that protect residents. This is where so what becomes a powerful discipline. Don't just say we use dashboards, say we use dashboards to identify exceptions daily, agree corrective action weekly, and give the authority visibility of performance trends before the issues become complaints. Don't just say we have experience, say this experience matters because it proves we've already managed similar volumes, risks, and stakeholder pressures. Do not say we have governance, say this governance gives the authority named decision points, escalation routes, and evidence that actions are closed. A hot button tells us where confidence is fragile. A reassurance point tells us how to strengthen it. The strongest bids are not the ones with the most content. They're the ones where every important concern is met with the right proof.